The cold silence of space was suddenly broken by a piercing alarm that echoed through the Epsilon 7 research station. Hoon Park's fingers flew across the communication panel, his eyes wide with growing panic. The distress signal wasn't just another routine transmission. This was different. Outside the station's reinforced windows, the endless darkness of space seemed to pulse with an ominous energy. Distant sensor arrays flickered with urgent red warnings, mapping something massive approaching from the outer rim of explored space. Something that didn't match any known technological signature. Hoon's hands trembled slightly as he decoded the fragmented message. Strange energy readings, massive gravitational disturbances, and encrypted fragments suggested a threat unlike anything humanity had encountered before. The station's automated defense systems were already charging, but something told Hoon they would be useless against whatever was coming. 3 days earlier, the station had been a typical deep space research outpost. Scientists studied cosmic radiation, monitored distant star systems, and maintained humanity's furthest reaching observation point. Now, everything had changed in a matter of minutes. "Command, this is not a standard alert." Hoon spoke into the communication system, his voice steady despite the fear crawling up his spine. "We have detected an unknown massive object approaching at speeds that defy current technological understanding." The station's chief scientist, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, rushed into the communication room. Her face was a mixture of scientific curiosity and pure terror. Years of space exploration had prepared her for many scenarios, but this felt different. The unknown object was moving in patterns that suggested intelligent design, yet completely alien to human comprehension. Sensor readings showed the object was approximately 500,000 kilometers from the station and closing fast. Its energy signature was unlike anything in human databases. No known propulsion system could generate such massive power or move with such precision. Hoon continued transmitting data, knowing that every second counted. The station's backup systems were already preparing emergency evacuation protocols. But something told him evacuation might be impossible. The station's artificial gravity began to fluctuate. Small objects started to float, then violently shake. Electronic systems began to glitch, displaying fragmented images and incomprehensible data streams. Whatever was approaching was already influencing their technology. Dr. Rodriguez pulled up. Holographic displays, her fingers moving quickly across quantum interfaces. "The energy readings are impossible," she muttered. "This doesn't match any known physical laws." Suddenly, a massive electromagnetic pulse swept through the station. Computers crashed. Communication systems died. For a moment, everything went completely dark. When the emergency lights flickered back to life, Hoon realized something had fundamentally changed. The station's external cameras showed nothing, no approaching object, no distant threat. It was as if whatever had been coming had simply vanished, but the silence was worse than any threat. Dr. Rodriguez's voice broke the tension. "Something just happened. Something big." Hoon looked at her, understanding exactly what she meant. This wasn't just another space anomaly. This was a message, a warning. Humanity was about to face something beyond its current understanding. The station's communication systems, which had been completely dead moments ago, suddenly crackled to life. But instead of a normal transmission, a series of complex mathematical equations began streaming across every available screen. Equations that seemed to describe something impossible, a technology so advanced it bordered on magic. Outside, the darkness of space seemed to watch, waiting. Hoon knew that the message they had received would change everything. Humanity's understanding of the universe was about to be challenged in ways no one could predict. The station continued its silent drift through space, carrying with it the first warning of a threat that would soon awaken humanity's most powerful weapon. A weapon that had been waiting, hidden and prepared for exactly this moment. Something was coming, and humanity was about to discover how little it truly understood about the universe. The transmission ended, but the story was just beginning. Deep beneath the lunar surface, a massive structure hummed with potential energy. The secret facility, known only to a handful of top military and scientific personnel, housed humanity's most guarded technological marvel. Massive electromagnetic conduits pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost alive, waiting for the moment of awakening. Dr. Jae Sung stood before the control panel, his hands hovering just above the activation sequence. Years of preparation, decades of secret research, and countless sleepless nights had led to this moment. The war machine known as humanity's resolve was about to become more than just a theoretical concept. The facility was a marvel of engineering, buried deep within the moon's rocky interior. Quantum processors unlike anything seen before lined the walls, creating a neural network that could process information faster than any human brain could comprehend. Each system was a piece of a much larger puzzle, a weapon designed to be humanity's ultimate defense. As Jay began the activation sequence, the first signs of life emerged. Massive metal plates shifted, revealing intricate technological components that seemed to breathe with mechanical life. The Titan was more than just a ship. It was a living, thinking weapon system that pushed the boundaries of human innovation. Preliminary system checks began. Each module came online with a soft hum that grew into a powerful resonance. The facility's walls vibrated with energy, and for a moment it seemed like the entire moon was awakening alongside the massive war machine. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing complex schematics and energy readings that would make no sense to an untrained eye. Quantum entanglement systems, adaptive armor technologies, and weapons that defied the laws of traditional physics were now preparing for activation. Outside the facility, a small team of technicians watched in awe. They had worked on parts of the project for years, but few had ever seen the entire system coming together. The Titan was a secret so closely guarded that most of humanity had no idea of its existence. Jay's fingers moved with precision, each touch triggering complex activation protocols. The ship's artificial intelligence began to take shape, not just a simple computer system, but a complex neural network that could adapt and think faster than any human could process. Memories of humanity's previous conflicts flashed through the facility's historical databases. Wars that had brought humanity to the brink of extinction. Alien encounters that had shown how vulnerable the species could be. The Titan was the answer to those threats, a final, ultimate defense. Power surged through the massive structure. The metal skeleton of the ship began to shift and reconfigure, revealing capabilities that seemed to defy normal engineering principles. Adaptive armor plates moved like living tissue. Quantum weapon systems charged with an energy that made the air crackle with potential. Initializing primary quantum drive, Jay whispered, his voice almost lost in the growing hum of technological power. The facility's temperature dropped. Electric charge filled the air. For a moment, everything seemed to pause, as if the entire universe was holding its breath. Then, with a sound that was more felt than heard, the Titan began to truly awaken. Massive energy readings spiked across every monitoring system. The ship's artificial intelligence started to form a complete consciousness, drawing from years of stored data, military strategies, and scientific knowledge. It was becoming more than just a weapon. It was becoming humanity's last hope. Jay watched as the final systems came online. The Titan was no longer just a concept or a blueprint. It was real. It was alive. Outside the facility, the moon's surface remained unchanged. But something fundamental had shifted. Humanity now had a weapon that could potentially change the course of any future conflict. A Titan that could stand against threats beyond current understanding. The activation sequence completed. Humanity's resolve was ready. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, something was about to discover the true meaning of human determination. The command center buzzed with nervous energy. Captain Yuna Kim stood at the center, her eyes fixed on the holographic displays showing the approaching alien threat. Around her, the most elite crew in human history prepared for a battle that would determine the fate of their entire species. Hoon Park worked the tactical systems, his fingers moving with lightning speed across quantum interfaces. Long-range scanners painted a grim picture of the incoming alien fleet. 3 human colonies had already been destroyed, reduced to cosmic dust in mere hours. Scanning complete, Hoon announced, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The alien fleet is massive, technology beyond our current understanding. The Titan's internal systems hummed with potential. Adaptive armor plates shifted like living tissue, quantum weapons charged with an energy that made the air crackle. This was more than just a ship. It was humanity's ultimate weapon of last resort. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the ship's chief science officer, analyzed the incoming data. Her screens showed impossible technologies, energy signatures that defied known physical laws, movement patterns that suggested intelligence far beyond human comprehension. "They're not just attacking," Elena muttered. "They're systematically eliminating human presence in this sector." Yuna studied the tactical displays. Years of military training had prepared her for complex scenarios. But this was different. The alien fleet moved with a precision that suggested a collective intelligence, a single mind controlling thousands of ships. The crew represented the best of humanity. Engineers from Tokyo, tactical experts from Brazil, scientists from research, stations across Earth and its colonies. Each person selected for their unique skills, their ability to think beyond normal limitations. Weapon systems came online one by one, quantum missiles that could penetrate any known shield, adaptive energy dispersal technologies that could redirect incoming attacks. The Titan was more than a ship. It was a technological marvel that pushed the boundaries of human innovation. Communication. Channels crackled with reports from devastated colonies, scattered survivors, desperate messages, the last echoes of human settlements facing complete destruction. Each transmission added urgency to their mission. "Preparing final system checks," Hoon reported. His fingers danced across the control panel, bringing complex weapon systems to full readiness. The ship's artificial intelligence began to integrate tactical data, billions of calculations processed in milliseconds, creating potential battle scenarios that no human mind could comprehend. The Titan was learning, adapting, preparing for a conflict that would define humanity's future. Elena's voice cut through the tension. "Energy readings are off the charts. These aliens are using technology we can barely understand." Yuna remained calm. Her hand rested on the primary control interface, feeling the subtle vibrations of the massive ship. Years of training, decades of human preparation had led to this moment. Outside the ship's reinforced windows, space seemed to wait. The darkness held its breath, anticipating the coming conflict that would determine the fate of an entire species. Weapon systems reached full charge. Quantum drives hummed with potential energy. The Titan was more than ready. It was hungry for battle. "All systems are go," Hoon announced, his voice cutting through the tension. Yuna took a deep breath. This was humanity's moment. Their ultimate weapon, their final defense, was about to be unleashed against a threat that had already destroyed everything in its path. "Prepare for quantum jump," she commanded. The ship's massive quantum drives began to charge. Space itself seemed to bend around the Titan, reality warping as the most advanced weapon in human history prepared to enter the battlefield. In that moment, humanity held its collective breath. Everything they were, everything they had achieved, everything they hoped to become. It all came down to this single moment. Space erupted with light as the Titan emerged from quantum jump. The alien fleet filled the view, a massive collection of ships that looked more like living organisms than mechanical constructions. Thousands of vessels moved with impossible synchronization, their metallic surfaces shifting and changing like liquid metal. Captain Yuna Kim gripped the command interface. "All systems battle ready," she commanded. Hoon Park's fingers flew across tactical displays. Quantum targeting systems locked onto the alien vessels. The first moments would determine everything. Humanity's ultimate weapon was about to face its first true test. The alien fleet seemed to pause. For a brief moment, everything stopped. Then, chaos exploded. Quantum missiles erupted from the Titan's launch systems. Each projectile was more than a simple weapon. They were intelligent attack units that could adapt, think, and redirect mid-flight. The first wave struck the alien ships with surgical precision. Massive energy explosions bloomed across the dark canvas of space. But the alien fleet wasn't defeated. They counterattacked with technologies that seemed to bend reality itself. Energy. Weapons that moved like living things struck the Titan's adaptive armor. Instead of penetrating, the attacks were absorbed, redirected, transformed. The ship's defensive systems worked faster than any human could comprehend, processing, adapting, responding in milliseconds. Incredible, Elena whispered, watching the battle unfold. They're using quantum entanglement as a weapon. The alien ships moved in patterns that defied traditional understanding. They merged, separated, reformed like a massive living organism. Each vessel seemed connected by an invisible network, thinking and moving as a single entity. Hoon's tactical systems worked overtime. Detecting multiple-dimensional attack vectors, he reported. They're not just attacking in 3 dimensions. The Titan's quantum processors analyzed and adapted. Where human ships would have been destroyed in seconds, this weapon continued to fight. Adaptive armor changed molecular structure. Weapon systems recalibrated themselves mid-battle. Massive energy. Waves crashed against the ship. External cameras showed incredible scenes. Alien vessels being torn apart, reconstructed, destroyed, and reformed in moments. This was more than a battle. It was a war beyond human understanding. Quantum weapon systems at 75% capacity, Elena announced, recommending full engagement protocol. Una nodded. Execute. The Titan unleashed its primary weapons. Quantum missiles that could destroy entire planetary systems erupted from launch bays. Each projectile was a marvel of human engineering, capable of thinking, adapting, finding the most effective path of destruction. The alien fleet began to break. For the first time, they showed signs of vulnerability. Their perfect synchronization began to fracture. Hoon's tactical display showed something impossible. The alien ships were communicating, adapting, but also showing fear. Humanity's ultimate weapon was pushing back an invasion force that had seemed unstoppable moments before. Space itself seemed to warp around the battle. Energy signatures that no human instrument could fully understand created incredible light shows. Entire sections of space twisted and reformed as the Titan continued its assault. We're breaking through their primary defense network, Hoon reported, excitement building in his voice. The battle continued. Hours compressed into moments. The alien fleet, which had destroyed multiple human colonies, was now fighting for survival against a weapon they couldn't comprehend. Captain Una Kim watched the battle unfold. This was more than a military engagement. This was humanity's statement to the universe, a declaration that they would not be easily conquered. The Titan moved like a living weapon, adaptive, intelligent, unstoppable. As the battle reached its climax, something became clear. This was not just a fight for survival. This was humanity's moment of transformation. The universe was about to change forever. The final moments of battle approached with a silence more terrifying than any explosion. Captain Una Kim watched as the alien fleet began to crumble, their once perfect formation breaking like fragile glass. Hoon Park's tactical systems showed the impossible happening. The alien ships, which had seemed invincible moments before, were now desperate. Their quantum communication networks collapsed, leaving individual vessels exposed and vulnerable. Primary alien command structure is failing, Hoon announced, his voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief. The Titan moved with a precision that defied human understanding. Quantum weapons struck with surgical accuracy, dismantling the alien fleet piece by piece. Each attack was more than a simple weapon strike. It was a calculated destruction that showed the true potential of human engineering. Elena Rodriguez monitored the scientific readings. The battle was revealing technologies that would change human understanding of physics forever. The aliens' advanced systems were being completely overwhelmed by humanity's ultimate weapon. Space itself seemed to bend around the Titan. Massive energy waves erupted, destroying entire sections of the alien fleet. What had started as an invasion that threatened human existence was now turning into a complete and total defeat. Quantum weapon systems at maximum efficiency, the ship's artificial intelligence reported. Its voice was calm, almost clinical, describing the destruction as if it were a simple mathematical equation. The last remnants of the alien fleet tried to escape, but the Titan was everywhere. Quantum jump capabilities allowed the ship to predict and intercept every possible escape route. There would be no survivors, no chance of reinforcement. Yuna watched the final moments of the battle. Years of preparation, decades of secret research had led to this single moment. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had made a statement to the universe. Hoon's tactical display showed the final stages of destruction. The alien ships, once a terrifying invasion force, were now nothing more than scattered debris. Their advanced technologies reduced to cosmic dust. Invasion force neutralized, the ship's AI announced. The silence that followed was more powerful than any weapon. The Titan had done more than win a battle. It had fundamentally changed humanity's place in the universe. Elena's scientific readings were incredible. The battle had generated data that would take decades to fully understand. Technologies beyond current human comprehension had been revealed in those few intense moments. "We did it," Hoon whispered, the weight of their victory slowly sinking in. Yuna remained focused. This was more than a personal triumph. This was a victory for every human colony, every human who had lived in fear of alien invasion. The Titan had become more than a weapon. It was a symbol of human potential. The ship's quantum sensors continued to scan the battlefield. Nothing remained of the alien fleet. No possibility of future attack. The threat had been completely and totally eliminated. Communication channels began to light up. Scattered human colonies, which had been waiting in terror, now erupted in celebration. The impossible had happened. Humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed. Returning to base, Yuna commanded. The Titan began its journey home. But everything had changed. Humanity would never be the same again. They had proven that they could stand against threats beyond current understanding. As the ship moved through space, the crew began to understand the true significance of their victory. This was more than a battle. This was a moment that would be remembered throughout human history. The ultimate weapon had awakened, and the universe would never forget.